paranoid of black and brown taking their country back. Plain and simple, these good old boys are preparing for the purge, people. The purge? I need to get prepared for the purge then, not the purge. You ever seen those series of shows? Basically, it's sort of like a dystopian universe. I don't think it's really in the future. Sort of a dystopian alternate universe similar to ours in the United States. But once a year for, 12 hours, 24 hours, you can commit any crime you want to. And it's an acknowledgement of the dark corners of the human spirit, for the bloodthirstiness of humankind. And it allows people to purge all of this evil, if you want to, within this one time frame. And then things go back to normal. And again, in this alternate universe, I guess it keeps the crime rate down. Okay, because for 12 hours, if you got a grudge or you got some issue, you can go hunt that person down and take care of them, I guess. Now they've got the Purge 3 out called Election Year. I've seen the first two. I thought the first was classic. The second one, it has some great scenes. The actors could have been better. The third one, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe I will. So I'm hoping that this is not like the Purge. I hope these individuals are not getting ready for that. Brenda writes, welcome to the police state. And the word on the street is that Tensing will walk. Yes, I've heard that. Brent writes, the loophole is in the charge itself. Second-degree murder means premeditated. I've often thought that when police officers are charged, that the loophole is in the charge itself. I've often thought that. So maybe this is a way for Joe Dieters to try to appeal to two different sides. On one hand, if Ray Tensing walks, hey, his buddies in law enforcement say, hey, where'd I go? And then on the other hand, if by trying him, then you appease elements of the community that could get active if he acts like he doesn't really give a damn. Could be. Ms. D writes, if Tensing walks, will that be a stain on Dieter's record? Like it will be for Marilyn Mosby? I wonder. Great question. Great question. Who is your Gilligan of the week? We've got many nominations, including Ed for watching Greenleaf. Oprah's new TV show is Greenleaf. Greenleaf, Ed? Let me look this up, man. What the hell is people watching these damn days? Greenleaf. Greenleaf premieres to OWN's biggest audience ever. Okay, I'm not hip to it. I'm sorry. She got big ratings, though, I'm looking at. The biggest audience ever for a premiere for the OWN network. Okay. And you watch this with your lady, huh? See how women try to force you to do stuff? And what is Greenleaf about? Is it a serious drama? Are any of the characters that Tyler Perry portrays, is any of those characters in the movie? I hope not. Or in the series? I hope not. Dale writes, and you know it's going to be a majority 45 to 65 of age white jury. It will be unless Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Dieters does his job. Kiki writes, The Purge comes out on July 4th. You've also got the new Independence Day minus Will Smith. And I'm like, how you going to bring Independence Day back without Will Smith? It's not the same. They've got a young brother in the movie. I believe he plays Will Smith's and Jada Pinkett Smith's daughter or son. Remember, in the first movie, you had that great scene of not Jada Pinkett, but Vivica Fox, I'm sorry. Vivica Fox, not Jada Pinkett Smith, but Vivica Fox played his love interest. I believe they had a child or something, or she had a child, and they were shacking up or something like that. I don't recall the entire plot line. I do know that she was a stripper in that first movie, and it was all good with me. It was a surprise when I got to the movie theater. Like, wow, Vivica Fox, this is cool. I love Independence Day. This is great. Krinda writes, at Brent, Dieters knew when he brought the charge. Should have been first-degree murder. # conspiracy from the beginning. Ed writes, Scandal is next. You better score every time. That's right. That's right, Ed. That's right, Ed, because, yeah, next you'll be having you watch Scandal, man, to get to Il Na Na, please. A real man shouldn't have to watch no damn television show to be with his woman. Not playing that game. Pat writes up, Portman is the Gilligan. Do your job and get me my money back. Still won't get my vote. I know that's right. Kiki writes, Edwards, you should have watched the haves and have-nots now. That would have been your show. You would have enjoyed it. Oh, not the haves and the have-nots. Oh, no. I need your Gilligan of the week. Is Trump your Gilligan of the week for his continual attacks on Hillary Clinton that don't make any sense whatsoever? Still hasn't released his tax returns. Fired his campaign manager. You tell me, is the Republican Party the Gilligan of the week for their unwillingness to try to come up with any legislation that will address the potential dangers and the mass proliferation of guns in this country? Now, you know that's some Gilligan-ish right there. You know that. Absolutely. You know that. Who is your Gilligan of the week, please? I need your nominations. Ed, I'm not taking you seriously, man. You can't be the Gilligan of the week. Crystal writes, Nate, they're calling it Empire, but with choir robes. A church family that's all messed up. An uncle that's a rapist, molester, a mother that covers issues up, dysfunctional church family. Lynn Whitfield and others star in it. Now, Lynn Whitfield, yes. Lynn Whitfield. What was the movie she did with Martin Lawrence? What was that called? There's a thin line between love and hate. Yes. Brent writes, the Republican Party got my vote. Kiki, yes, Mr. Ivey, you watched it. Don't front. You talking about the haves and the have-nots? My wife has watched it, and I criticize her for that. Like, how are you watching this? But that show, I don't know, there's something about it that draws you in. But then there's so many other things that turns me off. But I listen, I watch what I watch. I will not criticize you for your television viewing. Angela writes, the Gilligan of the week is Ray Tensing. Talking about it this morning brings it right back for me. He should always be nominated. Yes, Ray Tensing is a perpetual Gilligan. Shoot a man in the back of the head talking about you, and you never had to stop the car. It never should have happened. That interaction never should have happened. It never should have happened. I mean, Ray Tensing should have been looking for some real criminals. And Sandra Bowles should have went on with his life, whatever he was doing. Did they find some marijuana in the car? I believe they did. So what? I mean, we're on the cusp of legalizing it in the state of Ohio. So I'm not that upset about someone who has a little bit of marijuana. Big deal. No big deal. More news about the actions of police officers. You may or may not recall this, but at the time, it was a pretty big story. It was huge. And it just happened last summer. But a Collin County, Texas grand jury declined just yesterday to indict a former McKinney police officer who was caught in a firestorm after there was a video that surfaced of him subduing a bikini-clad black girl at a pool party. Just happened last summer. Remember this? Apparently, there was a pool party in an affluent neighborhood. And when a lot of black kids showed up, the neighbors called. They called the police. They called them boys. The police showed up and started to arrest, harass, terrorize these young pool partiers. There was an image of this officer. His name is Eric Casebolt. And he chases after this young girl, slings her to the ground, and then he pins her to the ground and draws his weapon on the other teenagers. We're talking about teenagers. And there's an image of this officer who is white with his knee pressed against her back, and it sparked outrage. Outrage. The officer resigned because he got so much criticism. But he was also charged criminally. But then recently, the grand jury basically decided it was a no bill. No charges against Eric Casebolt in relation to that June 15th, that June 2015 incident. That was a month ago. It was a year ago this month. Exactly 1 year ago. And it sparked these crazy conversations about how in 2015, black kids can't even go to a pool party in certain neighborhoods. I mean, literally, there were multiple videos. Literally, it's just like pandemonium. Teenagers are running, people are yelling and screaming. You got officers who are barking orders. And he takes this young girl, slings her to the ground, and then sits on top of her. And it just looked like some old straight up plantation type ish, didn't it? White, okay. He's the alpha male authority figure with his gun. Okay, trying to corral and control these black teens who are just so wild. And there were no criminal charges for any of the teens, as I understand it. There was no vandalism. Nothing had been stolen. It's just that people looked outside their windows and saw a lot of black kids and were like, uh-oh, something's happening. There goes the neighborhood. There goes the neighborhood. Never going to be the same anymore. I told you. Should this officer have been charged? That is deep. Now, the police department down there is dealing with a lot of heat. And they had a community forum on Monday. And here was the theme of the forum. Moving forward, strengthening police and community relationships. that was the theme. If you want to strengthen the relationship, then don't allow your officers to harass teenagers for no reason. This man pointed a gun at teenagers. Grand jury says no bill. No charges whatsoever. What does that say? What does that say? I ain't talking about a Gilligan of the week. Who is your Gilligan of the week? Brent writes, I remember that video. And then, what was it? Less than a month later, there was an incident at the Fairfield pool here in the city, near here in Ohio, near Cincinnati. Fairfield is a suburb of Cincinnati. Fairfield, is that what it was? I believe so. And you had a black family. They were out at the pool, and mom drops off the kids. That happens a lot because mom wants to do what she needs to do. She doesn't want to go swimming. As I understand it, I think there was some type of conversation over the attire. Like, when you go to certain pools, they want you to wear certain things. Like, they don't want you jumping in the pool with, like, blue jean shorts on. Why? Because then that dye is going to bleed into the pool. And I don't know about you, but I don't want the dye inside my system. Okay, so I get it. If you got a dress code, then you want to strictly enforce the dress code. I get it. I got no problem with it. What happened next went too far. Someone called the police. The family was arrested. The mother was arrested. I saw police officers slamming young black people's their face up against the car and their face up against these walls. I'm like, not the car, but the wall. I'm like, why is this so necessary? We told you to leave. Come on, ease up, Fairfield police. But maybe what that comes from is on some levels that they didn't want these black folks up there. That's how I read it. This all went down last summer. Last summer, America reared its ugly head again. Like, maybe some people still have a problem with sharing facilities with black folks. Is that true? You don't want to get in a pool if there's a black family in a pool? What? This is 2016. Really? People still have issue with those kind of things? That's amazing to me. Who is your Gilligan of the week? I might say it would be the creators of the haves and have-nots. It's a little joke between me and Kiki. Not my favorite. Who is your Gilligan of the week? Brendan writes, I'm going to nominate the Supreme Court with that ruling that puts stops and search on steroids in violation of the Fourth Amendment warrantless search and seizure. Yes, that's right. This past week, the Supreme Court said that if a police officer stops you and that police officer does an illegal search, whatever they find is still admissible. Previous to that, it was something called the poison fruit, where if you find fruit or evidence, if